Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to start and scale a thriving virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 210, our live Bali debrief.
God knows how this is going to go. This is the first time we have ever done this type of podcast episode. We had literally decided like 30 seconds ago. So no thought and no planning has gone into this episode whatsoever. But Joe and I realized that we haven't had a chance yet to debrief ourselves about how our Bali retreat went a couple of weeks ago. So what better place to debrief? You guys are going to get a behind the scenes look at how we kind of work together. And also with the added bonus of finding out how Bali went, because you guys are chomping at the bit to find out about Bali.
Yeah. So for those who've never heard about what the heck are we talking about, Bali retreat, we have just come back from a 5-night retreat for virtual assistants in Bali. It was the first time that we've ever run a retreat. So like, wow, those VAs who came with us, putting their faith in us that we're going to deliver something amazing for like the first time ever. I'd never even been to Bali.
I'd been once before, but like over 20 years ago. So a very, very long time ago. I mean, should we talk about why we chose Bali?
Yeah. Why did we choose Bali? I think for me, it was, I loved how spiritual Bali is from what I've heard from other people. So that was definitely a big plus for me.
Yeah. I mean, we've been embracing the woo-woo the last couple of years. So there was definitely that part of Bali called to us. I think also it just feels like it's the place to go at the moment. Am I right? Like it feels like everyone wants to go to Bali or has been to Bali or is going to Bali. Like,
yeah. And we knew that going to Bali meant that we could deliver some like incredible experiences for the investment that we had on, you know, what would feel like an affordable investment to go 5 nights somewhere, and Bali being so cheap, we knew that we could deliver something incredible there.
It literally was like we were playing with Monopoly money when we were there. Wasn't it?
It's in the millions. I was just like fanning millions of dollars, not dollars, but millions of Indonesian rupiah. How you say it?
Yeah, I think so. That's probably a really good place to start, because that's one of the questions that we did get, I think, via our stories and reels and stuff, people wanting to know what was the best way in order to take money and pay for things while we were there.
Yeah, so we had a Wise card, which I highly recommend, which meant that we could get some cash out really easily and cheaply. And then we could also use the Wise card there as well, which meant that we were paying in the local currency and we weren't having all of those extra fees. You know, when you use your card somewhere overseas, there's like 2 separate fees that you get, and it's quite substantial. So we avoided that as well. But cash was king over there. Many of our kind of experts that we got in, our external providers, suppliers, needed cash. They didn't take payment in any other way.
Yeah, we actually, thank God we had our virtual assistant Maria with us for not the whole time we were there, but the majority of our stay, because there were a couple of instances where we literally had to put her in a car with a driver and send her to the next day's kind of venue or restaurant, because all of a sudden they needed a deposit or an upfront payment of cash. We're like, oh, shit, okay, how are we going to get that to you?
Yeah, that was very common, needing to pay cash deposits everywhere, because I suppose they might have thought, well, maybe they've had a lot of experience with people just not turning up to things in big groups and them, you know, saving space for big groups and them just not turning up. I don't know, maybe they get too drunk the night before, or I just can't be bothered.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was handy. And that was one of our learnings, wasn't it? That next year we're going to have Maria there for the entire time. at the venue as well.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
that we didn't realize just how much we needed a person there supporting us, kind of being our runner, being the go-between, so we weren't having to rush up to the, reception desk every time we needed something, having that person that could handle the comms, so we could just handle the people that were on the retreat with us.
Yeah, be as present as possible is definitely the aim for us. Okay, what else?
What about the size of the group? We had 11. What do we think about that size?
Yeah, I reckon we could have gone a few more. So I reckon up to 15 could feel comfortable.
No more then. No more
No
than
more than
15.
15.
I feel like everyone felt seen and heard and had a place. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'd hate to lose that personalization by going too big.
I think another learning for me was that we had things back to back. So it was like from 12 to 1 and then 1 till 2 and then 2 till 3. And it felt like there wasn't quite enough spaciousness in between things. And so we
Yeah.
had some of the participants kind of coming to a 9 o'clock thing kind of around 9:30, and then we kind of missed the start of the exercise with everyone. So I feel like having a few gaps in between things next
Yeah.
year
Yeah. We
would
knew
help.
that. I think we knew that we were gonna get the agenda wrong in terms of probably wanting to over deliver. But until you experience it in real life, you really it's so hard to know when it's your first time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the venue that we chose was incredible. Like they
Oh,
had so many people there helping us, and there was always someone available, and nothing was a problem. Now we were like, "Can we have a Bluetooth speaker?" And then they're like, "Yep. What time exactly do you need that by?" And we were like, "Oh, just, tomorrow, just in the morning or something." They were like, "Okay, what time in the morning?" And we didn't realize they actually went and bought a Bluetooth speaker because they didn't have one, which was surprising they didn't have one.
I think that was the only thing they didn't have. Like, you
Mm.
think about some of the other requests that we asked for, like jars in order to do the love notes from Bali for everybody. Like, nothing was an issue. I think that's one of the beautiful parts of the Balinese culture. They want you to have the most amazing experience, generally just for you to have that amazing experience, but also the better experience you have, the more you're going to talk about that place that you've gone to, all those people that have helped you, right? Because they
Yeah.
rely on tourism so much. We did notice though that I think because they have this willingness to please, if they don't understand a request or some instructions, they won't actually tell you they don't understand. They'll just go, yes, yes,
No,
yes, 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 yes. So you walk away thinking, yes, yes, yes means, yep, we're all on the same page, very clear, everything's going to be sorted. But we quickly learned that yes, yes, yes doesn't actually mean yes, yes, yes. And that you do need to follow up 2 or 3 times just to ensure that everybody is on the same page.
totally agree. Yeah. You know what I also loved is the people that we got in delivered like beyond expectations. The sound healer, the breath work, the palm reader, they were incredibly good at what they did.
They were, yeah. I
I
would
was
say that was
blown
one of
away.
my highlights, definitely those external sessions that we had. And it was
Mhm.
so cool surprising people because obviously though the women that were on the retreat, they knew most of what was planned or the options and the people that were coming in, but there were a couple of surprises. So I think and I think they loved that those surprises. So keeping a couple of surprise
Mhm.
elements next year, so different types of surprises, I think is
Yeah.
something that we definitely have to do, like, just to mix it up a bit. Because already we've got a lot of returnees, so I think
Mhm.
half of the group that joined us this year have already signed
Yeah.
up for next year, which
Yeah.
just goes to show what an incredible time they had.
Yeah. And how worthwhile they know this is for them, their own like self discovery, personal development, but also how important taking that time away from your businesses and having dedicated, focused time without distractions is so powerful for you in business. So I
Yeah,
love that they are committed to coming back again. Amazing.
very exciting. One of my other highlights was having Tisha, our photographer, there, who was able to take some brand shoots for us while we were there. But also for the attendees, they had the option if they wanted to. Tisha could have done a brand shoot for them as well while they were there. One of our attendees took Tisha up on that, and the photos. Oh, I literally, like, I was teary. I was so teary seeing those photos come up on Tisha's laptop that day. We saw them in real time. She edited them. The attendee has like 40 shots, like ready to, is it 40 shots?
Yeah, more than 40, 44 shots or something. Yeah.
Now, the great thing about this is this particular retreat attendee, one of the reasons, or the work reasons she wanted to go on, was for us to help her get her website designed and going live and launched and stuff. And it's beautiful. It's so good.
Having incredible photos like she now does is just making this website absolutely dreamy and stunning. And she offers bookkeeping and admin. It's not like, it's a creative website or anything like that, but it's just bringing it all together to have such a nice feeling. And we know that she is so proud of this website and how it's coming together and these beautiful photos that she has.
Yeah.
Just
I
amazing.
honestly believe it's going to be the most beautiful virtual assistant website like out there. I'm going to call it. Like, it's gorgeous.
And you know what? It doesn't look out of place being Bali
No, it works.
because there's just so much greenery, and the venue had some beautiful spots. That wasn't, it wasn't like bikinis by the pool kind of vibe. It was just, there was a lot of really beautiful, it looks like you're living or working in like a really nice greenery kind of space.
Yeah, I mean, she made sure she packed a couple of outfits that were more, I guess, what she would consider business attire for her, and it totally worked. It didn't look out of place whatsoever.
Yeah,
that was so cool.
Oh,
I think we need to bring Tisha back next year if we can. And our photos are gorgeous. I can't wait to start sharing our ones. I was just like, who are those people? And bloody, like, is that us? Did you have a pinch me moment at any point? Did you have a pinch me moment and just go, holy shit, we're running a retreat like 10 hours away on a 10-hour journey or plane ride away from where we live?
Yeah, I did. I made sure that at one moment, I think it was by the pool maybe, and I was like, take in this beautiful environment, the surroundings, and just notice how you are here in Bali. Because I think I especially can get caught up in like, okay, what's the next thing that we need to do, and like really task focused. And so I made sure that I, at multiple moments, stopped and took in where we were, what we were doing, how we were changing people's lives and helping them.
I think that was one of my biggest struggles, actually, when you the first few days, especially when you were in that zone, and nothing I was saying was getting you out of that place. Like, it literally, I could have just been like talking on mute. I felt as though, okay, nothing I say is getting through to Joe. That was, I found that really tough.
Yeah, I had so much going on in my head with the logistics of everything, and not knowing who the external people were that were coming in and whether they were going to be any good. I felt so much pressure to make sure that those people delivered something amazing.
So you didn't share that with me at all. You didn't share that worry whatsoever.
Yeah.
And is that because you had no, like, that was me. That was me and Maria picking those people. So is that your control? Is this a control issue? Like, because you had, I think it is. I'm going to call you out on this. Because you had no say, you didn't trust us to make the right decision.
No. It wasn't about trusting who you'd chosen. It was just like, is this actually going to land really well? And is is everyone going to enjoy what they deliver? Because it
Okay,
is
so
unknown. And so it's
being
like
on
I
the
couldn't control it. There was nothing I could do to control it at all.
yeah, so being on the receiving end of that, it makes you feel like you're not being trusted to do a good
Mm,
job, to, like, "Just trust me to do it, Joe. Just trust me."
mm. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I do. I need to trust that also the universe is at work to make it an amazing experience as well. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was, like, the
It
feedback's been
was.
incredible.
The palm reader, I was so against getting a palm reader,
I'm glad
and
you brought this up.
you fought me on that, and I was like, it doesn't feel good to me. I just know I don't want that. And then feedback from everyone was like, that was
It was
such a
highlight.
highlight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you trust so much that it was going to be good?
Yeah, 'cause you really didn't want it. You really, really I think it came down to I wanted it more than you didn't want it.
Yeah,
And this was
totally.
and we've talked about this on another episode, the fact that we don't disagree very often, and when we do, it's very much we kind of check in with ourselves, "How much do I want this?" So I
Yeah.
did that check in, "How much do I want it?" 'Cause she doesn't want it. And it was like, "No, I really want it." And I think the final conversation we had about it was, "Joe, if you don't say yes, I'm not going to Bali."
Yeah, you threatened me. You
I
did.
did, like, and so you said yes. I totally threatened you and you said yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it ended up being such a highlight. He was incredibly good.
he was. Yeah,
It was, like, powerful and no denying any of the things that he said. You know, he could not know things about people.
it's you couldn't some of the things that he shared, it's not one of those general things that you could say to anybody and they're gonna go, "Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, thank you for that." It was
Yeah.
so specific. Do you wanna share anything? Do you
Yeah,
feel
I'm
like
happy to share. Yeah, so he said to me that I have trouble sleeping lately, which I cannot fall asleep. Probably for, like, the last couple of months, really struggled to fall asleep. And he said it's because you have so many things going on in your head, millions of ideas, and you have such responsibility on your shoulders. And that is why you are so tight up here. You just
Mm.
feel so much responsibility. And I was like, oh, I really do. And especially at the moment. And then he went on to say that I have a real mixture of masculine energy and feminine energy. And the feminine helps me to be able to do multiple things at once. You know, a woman can hold a baby and cook at the same time. A man cannot do that. They have to do either look after the baby or either cook. They can't do both at the same time. And which is weird for him to say it like that. But then he said the masculine is where you get your strength from. You're a really strong person. And then he went on to say that I'm going to have a third child, a baby. How does he know that I already have 2? And that the gap the age gap is gonna be a maximum of 18 years. Now I'm 42, my oldest is 13, and I reckon I probably would, at a stretch, have only 5 years left before I go into, like, menopause, right, and
Mhm.
not be able to conceive. And so that would be the perfect timing for maximum age gap of 18 years. And he said, "So why aren't you having it now? Why aren't you having a baby now?"
Oh my god. What did you say?
I don't know. I don't know. So that was probably the biggest standout thing from that, but everything he said from then on throughout the whole thing, I was just like, "This is mind-blowingly accurate."
Have you told Lance about the baby thing yet?
I did tell Lance about the baby thing.
And what did he
He
say?
he did not say no, and it just started him thinking, I think. And I know that if I said I wanna have a baby, that he would support me and he would. But man, that I could not sleep that night. my head was just spinning constantly.
You were shook. You
I
were
just called my
shook.
dad, and he's like, "Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna be a baby. It could just be like a new beginning, or a baby might come into your care, or a child might come into your
Mhm.
care, or Rex, when he gets to turn 18, he might have a baby, and then you have to look after it. Like, doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily mean that you're gonna have a baby."
yeah, that's very good advice. Yeah.
Yeah. How
Oh
about
my
you?
God. Wow. God, there was so much. There was so much. I actually haven't listened to the recording yet because it was just so much. I was just like, "Oh, wow." The thing that I found really, really funny, though, was there were a few people that had never had readings before. So they were a little bit nervous, and I think they were nervous around not wanting to be told something that was scary. And so we reassured those couple of attendees of saying, "Hey, look, that's not what these people do. They're not about scaring you. They would never tell you something that, that would be really, really shocking or really, really scary. Like, I'm pretty sure there's some rules around that, right? Like, you don't tell someone they're going to die next week, right? It doesn't happen." And so we like literally reassuring these women about this, and they ended up going in and having awesome readings, and they loved it. And so then I was right at the end. I was the last one because I wanted to make sure that everyone else had the experience. And so I was the last one to go in after reassuring. You'll never, nothing will be shared that's scary. And literally the first bloody thing that he said, well, first he goes, "You have headaches, don't you? You have a problem with headaches lately. It's a new thing." I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Like, I never used to have headaches, but all of a sudden it's pretty common." And then, to cut a very long story short, basically implied that if I don't shower in a certain way, I could shock my heart into having a heart attack in the shower and dying.
He literally said, "You will die unless you do this differently."
And I was reassuring everyone else all night, like, "It'll be fine, you won't be." But, it didn't freak me out, I've gotta say, like, I
Mm.
find it really amusing. And he was very specific in the advice, so now I have he told me what I need to do in the shower. I have to do things a certain way, wet things in a certain order, so I basically don't shock my body into having a heart attack one day. And he said, the people that die in the shower, there's a reason why the water is still running when their bodies are found." He went really dark.
Okay, I know that everyone listening right now is like, "Oh my God, please tell me how I need to shower so I don't have a heart attack."
Okay, so, I mean, I don't know if this is for everybody, like, this could just be for me, I don't know. But
Mhm.
basically, I need to make sure that the first thing that is kind of wet when I step into a shower is it needs to be my shoulders, but needs to be the back. So my
Mhm.
shoulders and my back needs to be the first thing that gets wet,
Not your head.
not my head. He goes, "Right now, the first thing you do when you get in the shower is you face the water, and it's your face and your head, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, doesn't everybody shower like that?" No, apparently they don't. So that's all potentially one of the reasons why I'd been getting so many headaches. It's just that shock. I don't know if it's just a sensitivity thing, I don't know, but my brain is getting shocked, and then that's just going straight down to my heart or something like that. Yeah. So there were other things, but that was literally the first the first thing he said. I think another one which I shared with you already was he goes, he goes, "You're crazy. You've got some crazy ideas." And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "But crazy in a good way." Like, I think he used the word what was the word? Innovative?
Innovative.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he goes, "But not everybody listens to your ideas, so you need to make sure they listen to your ideas." And I was immediately like, "It's Joe. Joe doesn't listen to all my ideas. You were one of my crazy ideas." She didn't listen.
Yeah, okay, I've got that message loudly. Has there ever been a crazy idea that we've done and it's flopped? I feel like
Mhm.
there hasn't been.
Oh,
Well,
woo-woo boxes. Woo-woo boxes. Yeah, that's probably, but that also could be because we didn't really promote them either.
Yeah.
Maybe if we'd done that better and got like, you know, there's a whole lot of
proper
reasons
photos.
why
Yeah.
that's flopped. Yeah.
Yeah, we could have done that differently. But yeah, all about the amazing ideas for Bali, for the awards, like they all have come off. They all have come off.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth is a big cutout. Like, who would have thought?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you did. That was a no. That was an initial no. Yeah. You don't always say no. You are pretty supportive. You are pretty supportive. So don't feel too bad about that.
No.
Yeah, and he goes, "You're famous. You're famous." There was something, I think he looked further down so it was off the palm and down towards the wrist. And I think the number or the placement of the kind of creases in my wrist, he goes, "Yeah, you're famous in your work. Everybody knows you." But he could have known.
We talk about that all the time because you have random people just like knock on your window at the school gate and be like, "Are you Sam?" It's like everywhere you go, the plane.
Yeah.
Tell the story about the plane.
It happened on the plane. So I was sitting next to somebody on the plane and I must have drifted off. And when I woke up, on her screen in front of her, on her device, it was like she was on our website. And you know, when you kind of go, what am I looking like? What am I seeing here? It just seemed wrong. Like, I'm like, what, literally, what is my brain processing right now? And then before I could even kind of like figure it out, I think she realized that I'd woken up. So she closed everything down. Yeah.
But you never spoke a single word to her.
No, it was very, very she's very closed off. Like normally I'm relatively chatty. I'm open to a 9.5 hour flight. Like I'm ready to chat to somebody after 9.5 hours. She was very closed off. So I see kind of like how she was already seated when I got there. And yeah, kind of said hello, but then that was it. She didn't want anything else.
I mean, you are recognizable with your headscarf, your hats, etc. Like you are recognizable. I could see how she might have come across you somewhere and then be like, "Oh, I'm just going to look this up because is this the same person?" And then maybe she was so starstruck she couldn't say anything.
Oh my god! Not even. Not even. Yeah. Yeah. Funny, but bizarre.
Another one of your crazy ideas that I loved at the retreat, and I think was received really well too, was the box of goodies, the box of little like trinkety goodies, items.
Yeah, that was cool.
Beautiful.
That was cool. Are we going to do it again next year?
I feel like
now.
I feel like we need to do that again.
It was beautiful.
Let's not go into detail about what we actually did with them, but it was a nice way for them to have a souvenir, I reckon. Yeah.
And that was fun. I think that was one of my kind of pre-retreat highlights. We got there 2 days earlier. Did we get there? Was it 2 days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Learning, we need longer before we get there because it was probably too straight into it. We needed a little bit more time to decompress. But one of my kind of pre-retreat highlights with you and Tisha was definitely going to that particular market the day before and buying all those goodies. Like they were literally, everything in that box was hand-picked. I mean, how long did it take us to buy it? Like we were there a couple of hours, I feel like.
Like 2 hours, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam, you've got a superpower. You know what that is?
Bartering?
Haggling at the markets. Who would have thought that Sam is like the master haggler?
Yeah.
That was awesome to watch.
Because that's never, usually when I've been, because when I was in Bali last time, which was many, many moons ago, I was with my boyfriend at the time. And so he did all of that. And we did a lot of traveling together, you know, the following 5-6 years we were together. So there were other countries that we visited that was very much bartering, negotiating. But he was always the one that did it. Like I was very much, I would just take a step back, let him kind of do his thing. But I guess I just soaked it all in. Like
And
I
that
may have not been doing
totally
it, but I was like all over all of the kind of the tips and the tricks as to do it well. And it was fun. It was so much fun. Like I enjoyed being that kind of hard ass. I mean, you're not ripping them off. Like there's a fine
no.
line. I didn't want to rip anybody off. They work very hard. They need the money. They rely on the tourism. Like I totally, that wasn't what it was about. But you also don't want to be overcharged because you are a tourist. And so going and kind of knowing what something's kind of worth, knowing the budget, and then sticking to it and being willing to walk away because you know there's going to be another 30 stalls down the track that you could
Yeah.
do the same thing with. Like, it's just that confidence, I think, that you need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because the prices that they would say at the beginning were ridiculous, like way more than you'd ever pay for something in New Zealand. Like we
Yeah.
knew that, you know, they were starting high. And
Yeah.
I think all the stallholders actually loved it. They were all laughing and having a great time with us as we were going and haggling and trying to find all of these little items.
I don't think they expected it. I don't think they
No.
expected to barter as hard as we did. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because by the end of it, we both walked away happy. That's why they enjoyed it. Like they found it entertaining because they then also weren't ripped off because we did respect them and their craft as well.
Yeah. And they're not going to sell something that they are going to make a loss on. You know,
Yeah.
we knew that they were still going to make a profit for sure.
And then afterwards, so our driver, that day, oh, another learning, he was amazing. We need him like the whole week.
Yes. He was amazing.
He went above and beyond. Like he took us to all the best places. He kind of gave us some kind of like tips and tricks and, you know, everything that we needed to know. He didn't come to the markets because he knew that if he came, then they would go, oh, they're tourists with money. So they're going to then barter harder than they did of us just like turning up by ourselves. But he was also your bodyguard as well because you had to get out a shit ton of cash from money machines.
I had to get out 24 million and the maximum that I could get out in one go was 1 or 2 million. Oh, it was stressful.
Yeah.
I did not like it. I think because the number felt so huge as well, because it was 24 million, that I really struggled with feeling safe doing that. And so, he came with me to be, because one time I was just like, I can't do this. I just have to leave. I didn't get the amount that I needed. And I was like, I can't stand on the street anymore. No one else was with me. There were people lining up behind me and I was like, oh, I can't do this. So I just bailed, which is not like me to do something unfinished. I bailed and then I was like, can you please come with me to one and can you like be there while I'm doing it? So we did that the next time. He was my bodyguard.
He was
he was great.
Good. He was so good. Yeah. Another learning, right? We don't put
It's gonna take a long time. Cash out.
It's going to take a long time to get the cash out that we need, and don't leave you to do it by yourself as much as you telling us that you want to do it by yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't anyone else's fault. That was me just being like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And then when I got out there, I was like, oh, this does not feel good.
Yeah. Speaking of money, I want to touch on the fact that the advice we gave those attending around spending money was to get out the equivalent of 100 New Zealand dollars, or I guess the same with Australian dollars, because we had a few from Australia too. 100 New Zealand or 100 Australian dollars at the airport, use the money machine there. And I reckon that was great advice. I didn't spend, like I got out $100 for my personal spending. I didn't spend it all. I really struggled to spend that much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was, more than enough to go to the markets and buy some things.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of markets, I think we should take next year to a different market. I don't know if the driver actually took us to the market that I was saying, because when we got back after walking the street market, he was like, you want to go in there? And I was like, everyone was so tired by then. But I think in there was the better markets. But he didn't say anything when we got out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
That is definitely a learning. Make sure that we know exactly which market we're going to go to. Because our yoga instructor said, go to these markets, they are the best ones. And then when we got there, we were like, this doesn't feel like the best markets.
Yeah, I felt like the one that we went to before everyone arrived was definitely better than that. Yeah. So we'll do a little bit more market research on market. I think we need to stop ignoring the elephant in the room, which is Bali Belly.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It happened. Not everybody got sick. I got the worst of it, I reckon.
Yeah, it's so hard to know what the reason was that each person got sick. Because one of the participants was like, got really sick on the first, so it was fine for that night, and then the first day was sick.
Yeah.
And then she said, oh, I wonder if it's because I've had 2 massages and I am now in full detox.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had massages for a very long time. And then I had 2 full-on hour ones, and it just brought out all of these toxins, and that's why I got sick.
Yeah.
Who knows? Because we chose a place where they had amazing food. The kitchen was beautiful. I just don't think it was the food.
No.
They had mineral water as in ice. Like, it wasn't the food in the venue, but it was something that each person who did get sick, a few who got sick, were, it's hard to know what the reason was, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, was it night 1, you accidentally brushed your teeth with tap water, but you didn't get sick. Like,
I didn't get, yeah.
So there's no rhyme or reason. Like, I feel as though I thought I'd done really well prepping my body. So I'd been on double strength probiotics for 2 weeks prior to even leaving. And of course, this year has been my year of health. So I feel like my gut has been, because I've been working on my gut health a lot this year. I feel as though in terms of my gut, it is the healthiest it's been probably since I was a newborn. Like, it's so good. Like, you name it, I've done it. Like, I feel as though that was, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was too healthy. It's like, maybe I'd done such a good job cleansing it, and like, it's all good, that it meant that I was more, I don't know.
I feel like some of the other participants, it could have been that one of them kind of like got a cold.
Yeah.
Kind of fully
cold. Plane, I reckon. That's on the plane. Like,
plane, or also I feel like those who are like push, haven't had a holiday for ages, push. And then, you know, when you go on holiday and then you start to relax.
Yeah.
That's when you get sick.
Yeah.
So anyone coming next year, like, you can't push all the way and think, oh, this is going to be my break and my holiday. You actually need to prepare yourself by having some holidays and breaks leading up that start of the year, and not have this the first time that you have a break.
Yes, because your body will literally go, it's safe for me to now get sick. It's a safe place. It's a safe place. Yeah. Despite the Bali Ballet, I have no hesitations about going back and running it again in Bali next year. I feel as though we now know exactly the types of drugs that we need to have there.
Yeah.
And more. We need to bring more than what we did, for sure. Like, I don't think it even occurred to us that someone might get a cold. Where in hindsight, it's like, of course, you imagine all the bugs that you pick up on airports in a 10-hour flight, but also going into air-conditioned buildings, in and out, air-conditioned to the heat of Bali. It was very hot some days. I mean, you can get cold and flu symptoms just from that alone, right?
Yeah. I think, definitely going more prepared with drugs is
great.
Yeah. Great option.
Okay. What else?
I think we had the yoga. We're definitely going to request the same yoga teacher that we had for kind of like 4 out of the 5 days, because one day we had a yoga teacher and she
pushed you
folding in half. She was so bendy, and she thought that, well, she expected all of us to be really trying hard to do all of these moves, and was not okay with one of the participants at the back just wanting to be in the atmosphere and just taking it easy and doing her own thing.
Yeah.
She was very strict on everyone must be doing all of the things that I say. So
Didn't she say, like, you need to try, and someone was like, this is me trying. I am trying my best.
yeah. So she's out. The guy that we had the rest of the time, he was just a beautiful soul, and he really read the room well, and he did a lot of meditation, and it was just a beautiful yoga experience compared to Battle Axe Lady.
That's a great thing, though. There was, I think, the resort team were very, very open to our feedback with a couple of things. So us going back and saying, can we have this particular yoga teacher all week will not be an issue, because we had I don't know, would you call it an issue with the spa?
Yeah. Yes, let's talk about that.
Okay, so we were the guinea pigs. You, me, and Tisha all had various different spa treatments before everyone else got there. We thought, A, it's a good way for us to unwind. B, we get to then test out the facilities in order before everyone else arrives and they do it, right? And we found it a little bit like the experience was lacking. We were just kind of like, oh, is this the kind of luxe VIP spa experience that we are promising as part of this retreat? Not really.
No. The actual building and it being like on water looked like it floating on the water, and that was beautiful.
Yeah.
But then when we had our pedicures, it was kind of just like a girl had come in. She had just her like plastic tray of all of the nail polishes. Her tools and everything were all just on the floor. It didn't seem hygienic. Her gloves looked dirty when she started working with me, and I was like, oh, this is not good. So we quickly realized that is not going to fly for anyone else. We cannot have that experience. So we moved the room to a different room. We talked to the people at the venue, and they got different people in, and they made it a much more nice experience. We talked about the hygiene issues and stuff. And then everyone else, from then on, no one knew that we had that terrible experience with that person. They loved. The result that we got was actually great. But the experience was not good. So changed things up and dealt with that before.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good lesson for us to make sure that we test out the things before we get everyone else doing them.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the kind of the touristy things, like we didn't spend too much time playing tourist with everybody else. We had a day, and we already know we tried to jam too much in, and having it on that last day probably didn't work. So we're going to change things around so it's not on the last day. People can relax into it a bit sooner.
Yeah.
But probably the only thing that not everybody got to experience was like the beachy side of Bali. So I think incorporating like a beach experience would be awesome next year for sure.
Yeah. Having that the night before was not the right night, was it?
No. Yeah,
because the beach was beautiful. The sunset was amazing, but just not everyone got to experience it.
Yeah. The other thing that I think some of the feedback we got, this kind of is repeated through the reviews that I've been seeing anyway. It's that there are no shoulds, there are no must-dos. Like, you make this whatever it is that you need for it to be for you personally, right? There are no expectations. If you need to disappear and go hang by the pool, you can. If you want an extra spa treatment instead of doing this work session, that's okay as well. If you want to come to dinner, we'd love you to be there. But if you don't, that's okay. You can order in. Like, come to yoga, don't come to yoga. It was really like a giving everyone permission that you don't have to do anything. There are no shoulds. Like, the word should, out, banned while you're in Bali.
That was a beautiful addition to the experience from you, is that permission to make this experience however you want it to be. I got the same feedback that was one of the best things that we could have done at the start, is giving everyone permission to do or don't do.
I mean, we literally had it on the whiteboard in the conference room, didn't we? Like, it was so important. Like, for us not just to say it, but for it to be front of mind for the whole 5 days. And I think that came from, I don't know if that's my introvert side coming out and knowing that I would have needed that permission. Otherwise, I would have felt all the shoulds and I musts. And without that message front of mind visually for me, I wouldn't have had the confidence if I was there as an attendee to just disappear. Or I would have felt as I had to ask permission or apologize for the fact I needed to have that time. Like, no apologies. No apologies. Do whatever you need to do in order to fill your bucket, right?
Yeah. Something else I struggled with was like knowing when to check in with those who had disappeared.
Yeah.
Because that felt to me like so uncaring. And I really wanted to check in and you were like, no.
Yeah, we clashed. We clashed on this. Yeah.
Yeah, I struggled with that because I wanted them to feel like we noticed and that we were checking in and yeah.
It's like we went so hard, like giving permission. You don't have to ask permission, just disappear. That's all good. You do you. And then when that happened, it was like, but are they okay? Do we need to check in? And you were more concerned about that for sure. And I think it's just because you care deeply. And it's not that I don't care deeply, but I didn't want to go back on our word. I didn't want our actions of then checking in for them to go, oh, well, did they actually mean what they said about I can just disappear? So getting that balance right was tricky. But I think we did it.
Yeah, I definitely got feedback that I felt really cared for and supported. So, yeah.
And everyone caring about each other. It wasn't just us caring and supporting everybody. Like, I was surprised. I think I was surprised given you've got a group of women. Some of them knew of each other, but not everybody did, right? Everyone got on so well. There was no clashes. There was no personality things going on. There was no drama. No one upset anybody else. It was just so easy in terms of the personalities that were there.
And I think everyone showed their vulnerability in some of the activities that we did, and that really connected women together too. Because I think you can kind of assume that other people have it all together and they don't have any issues that they are dealing with. But some of the activities we did showed that people are dealing with things. Everyone is dealing with things.
How many times did you cry? How many times did you cry, Jo?
Oh, 5?
Yeah. I reckon once a day at least.
Yeah, once a day. For sure.
And that wasn't shouldn't speak for you, but for me anyway, that wasn't always my issues that were coming out and cleansing and, getting rid of all that energy. But it was also just sometimes really connecting with somebody else's story, whatever it is they're sharing, or their kind of aha moment or their level up moment, or celebrating whatever it is that they've just achieved. Just feeling so deeply for somebody else and really connecting with them on that level was just so moving at times.
It really was. And obviously I cried in the sound, not the sound healing, in the breath work, because I'd experienced that before. I knew what to expect. And so I let myself have a big old cry and wail in there, which felt really good.
So we've talked a lot about the activities, which were very woo-woo-y activities, but the retreat itself wasn't just about the woo-woo. Do you think we got the balance right between woo-woo and business growth?
I really do think we did. There were a couple of breakthroughs in some of the women who intentionally wanted to come to the work sessions, and that was part of their intention of what they wanted to get out of Bali.
Yeah.
So I think, a really good balance between, we had 2 big sessions available for those who wanted to do some work. And there were some who took up both of those full sessions, some who did some, and some who did none. So I think it was a really good balance. And those with an intention got out of it what they intended.
So no change on the time spent on woo-woo versus the time spent on work stuff. And adding the touristy stuff too. Like
the touristy fun stuff, and
balance was right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we had a great night at the welcome dinner too. I think that will like really set the scene for everyone having a great time, letting loose. And I loved how fun that was. And like
It
you
was fun.
saying, Joe, jump in the pool, and many of us were in the pool in our clothes. The amazing experience that we had with some performers was cool too. So I think that was a great welcome dinner the very first night.
That was so much fun. I mean,
Mm.
we not everybody, but a few of us got very boozed. But it was, yeah, it was just fun. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Balinese, and that especially at that venue, they know how to decorate. They know how to create atmosphere. They spent all day setting up this beautiful Bali lit up sign and curated
Mm.
the whole like outdoor area just for us, which was incredible.
Yeah. And they looked after us because obviously towards the end of the night we were getting very boozy, but they were there. Like as soon as somebody, and I say, did they help me out of the bush that I fell into? I feel like they may have.
I don't think so.
They made sure we all got back to our rooms. Like everyone left so much stuff around the
Just like
place.
you're strewn everywhere.
I was like, where are my glasses? Where's my you name it, I'd lost it. Like, but everything it just magically was where it needed to be the next day. Like, just beautiful
Yeah.
people that looked after us so, so well. We definitely weren't just nameless, faceless guests.
That was the other thing they did really well. They knew everyone's name and they remembered everyone's orders for coffees and
Yes.
drinks and things,
Yeah.
which was a really nice touch. Made us feel very VIP and special.
Let's talk about the food. Let's talk about the food in Bali. I don't think I had a bad meal. Like everything was amazing. And the food and the drinks at the resort itself where we were staying, all so healthy. Like there is not one thing on their menu which is well, maybe they do have pizza on their menu. It's probably not the healthiest thing. But in general, everything is so, so healthy. But it's delicious. Like you don't feel as though you are at a place that only offers healthy options. Do you know how you go to some place, it's like, oh my God, they only have boring healthy stuff. Like it's just
Yeah.
they
Yeah, I
make
know what you mean.
everything
And it doesn't taste nice. And
yeah, like you feel as though something's missing because it is so healthy. It was all incredible and looked beautiful. Like how often does reality actually live up to like Instagram worthy photos that they share in all the places? It was beautifully plated.
yeah. There was a lot of gluten-free options. Most things were gluten-free. They didn't use any like horrible seed oils. They only used coconut oil, and everything was just so fresh, crunchy. All of their salads, everything was delicious.
Oh my God, their dragon fruit smoothies. So good. I dream about them. I literally dream about their dragon fruit smoothies. I think I looked like a dragon fruit by the end of the week. But they also looked after Emmy really well in terms of her allergy, her nut allergy. And Emmy, beautiful Emmy, she's just like, oh, but it's not that bad. But at the end of the day, she has a nut allergy, okay? But they went above and beyond. They made sure every single meal that she had, like somebody would pull her aside and just check that this was an okay way to prepare it and that she was okay with this, and this that was inside. And if there was any room for doubt, they would make a separate plate for her. She was just like, they don't actually need to go this far. Like, but no, they took it very, very seriously and made her feel so cared for. And she felt so safe with everything she ate because of it.
Yeah, I think so. That's a good point. If anyone is listening and you are like, oh, I've got allergies, like serious allergies of some kind, I don't know if I can trust that, in a foreign country that they're going to actually take it seriously. This place, which is where we're going again next year, they take it very seriously, and the food is so important to them and the safety of their guests is so important. So I would have zero concerns about any allergies that you have
Yeah.
coming to Bali, to that specific resort.
No, it was incredible. Food was amazing and so healthy. Like that was one of my worries going in. I think I shared that with you. I definitely shared it with Mark. Was like I've spent the last 8 months working on my health, like so committedly and dedicated and consistent that I didn't want to come back feeling yucky. And I really didn't want to see like a gain on the scales when I'd done so well. So, but also trying to balance that out with actually enjoying myself and not feeling as though I was, missing out on alcohol occasionally and some, and nights out and things like that. I actually lost weight. Now it's probably a combination of getting Bali belly, but definitely because I'd never felt hungry, but I was just eating such healthy things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost weight being away for 10 days. That's crazy.
It's amazing.
That's crazy.
Oh, I can't wait for next year to go back and get my coconut chili chocolate hot drink.
Oh, that was good.
It was
Yes.
so warming, that cayenne pepper on top. Oh, it was delicious.
It was so good.
All of the drinks and food was incredible there.
My God. Trying to get some mee goreng. Those noodles we had for lunch in the rice paddy restaurant. It's just not the same. Outside of Indonesia, it's just not the same. Okay, I want to talk about the timings. So the official retreat was 5 days. I personally feel like having like a nothing day, like an extra day at the end, and it could be optional. Whereas if they just want to blob, if they want to go out and get their own driver and go back to a market, whatever they want to do, like a whole free day, optional, non-optional. It felt
do we
like
have it as an
finished real
add-on?
fast.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea to consider, whether it's an add-on or whether it's that last day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think us getting there a little bit earlier, and I don't know how that looks. Is that an extra day? We're there 3 days earlier rather than 2?
Yeah, 3 days earlier would be good. I think we need that wind down time. And I know that now that I understand how it all works and what's the go and the logistics, then I can actually not stress about that and have better sleeps and be more present.
Yeah. Just
So much
you
unknown.
weren't you, and I wasn't me. I feel as though so much of the week we were, and I don't know if it was because we just wanted it perfect. We wanted everyone.
I wanted everyone to just absolutely love it and get out of it what they wanted.
Yeah. But
deeply.
But that was at the detriment to kind of our own enjoyment, I think, and being in the moment and being present.
Yeah. I mean, that first welcome dinner, I totally let my hair down then. I was completely myself.
Totally. Yeah.
But but the rest of it was...
Yeah, wouldn't it be good if we had that feeling for the entire time? And I think you're right. Now there's not going to be all of those unknowns next year.
Yeah.
We flew premium economy because it was like, 9.5 hours. That's a long time. Let's try and be as comfortable as we can. So we flew premium economy there. I upgraded to business class on the way back.
You really needed that. You were not well.
Yeah, that was so good.
What was business class like, Sam?
So good. It's fortunate that it's not the first time I've flown business class, so I kind of knew what to expect. But it's been a while since I've flown business class. Oh my God. Like, to me, I feel like it's a no-brainer just to go business class both ways next year.
You did that bid, didn't you? You bidded for the upgrade?
Yeah. Yeah. But it wouldn't have actually been that much more expensive, I don't think, if we'd just gone business from day one, like with our booking.
Definitely going to help with the jet lag for sure.
Yeah, it was, just the space. I think anything kind of like that 9 hours plus if you can make it work. And we've got to remember it's a business expense too, right? It's a business expense.
Yeah, that premium economy was amazing with the footrest.
Oh yeah.
To be able to, it was kind of like a lazy boy, with the footrest at the bottom. So good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I feel like going premium economy for sure. Just having that extra space. I woke up on the way there, premium economy, and my headband thing had disappeared. I'm just like, where's it gone? Like,
we were on our hands and knees looking everywhere trying to find this blooming headband.
This headband, and it's my favorite. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have cared that much, but it's one of my favorites. And it's just like, it's got to be here somewhere. Like, it can't have just disappeared into thin air unless my seatmate has stolen it while I'm asleep. It's a souvenir.
Souvenir from the famous lady.
Who knows, right? So in the end, the stewardess was lovely. They're so accommodating. And I was like, okay, this sounds really weird, but I woke up and I'm missing my headscarf that I was wearing. And it's not here, and we've looked everywhere, we've looked all the way under. So she had to kind of peek under the seat to make sure that we hadn't missed it. And it definitely wasn't there. She goes, okay, I'll go talk to the rest of the team. We'll see what we can do. And she comes back and she goes, right, really, really sorry, but it somehow ended up right at the back of the plane. Like, we're right at the front, and it had made its way down the complete end of the plane. And one of the team had obviously picked it up, not knowing, I mean, it's a big plane, like,
Whose it was.
who was it? And she goes, so the good news was we found it. The bad news is because it's traveled all the way down there, probably like trapped and like under the trolleys and stuff like that, it's a bit grubby. So we've washed it and we're hanging it in the dryer for you. I'm just like, oh, it's so nice. So they didn't have to do that. Like, it was my own fault. I should have taken it off when I went to sleep, right? But they totally went above and beyond. They washed this thing, and then they must have little dryers back there, I guess. Who knows what they've got in their little cubby holes.
I don't know. I don't know how it works. That's so nice of them to launder it for
They
you.
laundered it for me. I've had that one like years, and I've never washed it.
Oh, now it's amazing.
So yeah, so that was lovely.
A direct flight in New Zealand from Auckland to Bali was another reason why we loved that we could go to Bali on one flight. I think that was definitely a big plus too.
And that would be something I would not want to have changed planes just to save a couple of $100. Like, what's the point in that? Yeah. All right.
And good time to fly too.
Great time of year. That's why we're sticking with July, right? Because over this side of the world, it is cold as fuck. So how nice was it being in the heat and the sun?
30 degrees was so beautiful. It was so nice.
It was so
I never
nice.
felt really hot, like too hot over there. I thought it was a great temperature.
Yeah. In terms of the clothing, like, would you pack the same stuff?
Well, there were some things I didn't wear.
Okay, so you overpacked?
I overpacked. And just for me, my favorite outfit was the flowy orange pants that I got at the market and a singlet. That was
beautiful.
Just so comfortable.
Yeah.
I loved how slow paced everything was. I started to walk slower when I was there, and just the floaty pants.
Was that nice fabric. Slower?
Yeah. Absolutely it was. Yeah. With the floaty pants, it felt so nice.
Oh my gosh. God, I'd hate to.
So take us back. Take us back. 2025.
Take us back.
Cannot wait.
We're going. What are our dates? What are our 2025 dates?
Our dates are from the 16th of July to the 21st, and we'll consider figuring out that last day whether there's an add-on to do an extra day as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Already, we've what 7 spots have already been taken. So will that leave? God, maths. We all know my maths isn't great. Is that 5 left?
5 spots left.
5 spots left. Very cool. Very cool. We'll have to get in touch with Anita to get our flights booked in, our business class flights. Am I going to twist your arm to get us both in business class, or am I paying for my own upgrade?
We'll see.
Oh, that's a no. We all know that a we'll see is a no from a mother.
Right. If you are interested in taking one of those remaining 5 spots and having that beautiful, magical, soul nourishing experience with us in Bali next year, completely tax deductible, then we'll drop the link down below. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the VA Foundry website to check out the mastermind and the amazing resources, courses, and coaching.
You can find us at thevafoundry.com.